The story that we are going to discuss this time makes people very, very upset. He has no shame when people find out the truth. But before we continue, we want to remind that what happened to us is a true story, not a movie, so don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Without further ado, just continue with the story, and welcome to Shania Studio. In the city of Michigan, United States of America, lived a family who had two children, the father named Stephen, and the mother named Tara, their two children named Ian and Lindsay. Tara is known as a woman who is very smart, hardworking, easy to get along with, and loves her family very much. Tara is also a very successful career woman. She works as a chief executive in a large company. Because it has a high position, Tara gets a very large salary. But she had to commute by plane because her company is located in Puerto Rico. Tara usually catches a plane on Mondays, heads to her office, then returns on Fridays to be reunited with Stephen and the kids. Due to her busy schedule, Tara hires an 18-year-old part-time babysitter named Vienna to look after the children at home. In contrast to his successful wife, Stephen, the husband, is known as an ordinary person, not too handsome, not easy to get along with and tends to be rigid. Even Stephen has no clear job, also known as unemployed. He spends most of his time at home, sometimes Stephen being the children's football coach, but nothing stands out from the personal side of Stephen. Despite their vast differences, their family and close relatives see Tara and Stephen's life going well and harmoniously. They live in an elite area of Michigan, have a car and an affluent life. Until one day, on the 14th of February, 2007, Stephen went to the police station to report that Tara had disappeared. The officers immediately took this report seriously, because cases of missing adults are very rare in the city of Michigan. Stephen told officers that on Friday, February the 9th, Tara arrived in Michigan by plane. When she got home, Tara told Stephen that she was leaving for Puerto Rico on Sunday, one day earlier than usual, because there was a office work that must be completed. Because of this, the two couples quarreled, until finally, Tara decided to leave. From inside the house, Stephen saw Tara in a black car. That night his two children were fast asleep. A few hours later, Stephen tried to call Tara, but his cell phone was off. Stephen left a message asking Tara to call back. However, Tara never replied to the message. For several days Stephen tried to contact Tara. Stephen also called Tara's boss in Puerto Rico, called Tara's family, but no one knew her whereabouts. On the 5th day of Tara's disappearance, coinciding with Valentine's Day, Stephen decided to report it to the police. A massive search was carried out. Two detectives also asked for information from Stephen. When the police came to his house, Stephen and his children and Vienna were at home. In the dining room, The officer asked for Tara's credit card number. Stephen gave the data that was stored on the computer. Stephen asked the police to immediately arrest the perpetrator, and Stephen will help the police to solve this case. One of the detectives asked Vienna, where was Vienna when Tara left the house? Vienna explained that at that time she had finished work and had gone home. Before leaving the house, the officer asked Stephen to do a lie test at the police station. Stephen agreed to the request. Police then checked into the airport, but there is no record of Tara going to Puerto Rico by plane. And Tara's credit card has not been used since the 9th of February, as well as her phone records, no calls since that date. News of the disappearance of a beautiful, smart and successful young mother spread to the public. In front of the media, Stephen cried, pleading with anyone who saw his wife, to immediately call and provide information to the police.
Call anybody, call the police, call me, let's call someone. You see her, tell me, please.
A few days later, a woman was jogging in the park, which actually looked like a forest. The woman saw a suspicious bag, which was lying under a tree. The woman then opened the bag, which contained gloves and a metal razor covered in blood. The woman immediately reported the discovery to the police station. The police then examined it, and it turned out that the blood was Tara's. The police also expanded their search around the forest, when the officers wanted to ask for information from Stephen, in contrast to a few days ago, where Stephen was very cooperative with the officers. This time when the officers asked questions, Stephen refused to answer and asked the officers to speak to his lawyer. He also refused to do a lie test. This of course made the police suspicious. 3 weeks after Tara disappeared, the officers finally got a permit to search Stephen's house. When they got there, the police were greeted by Stephen, who was bringing his pet. Stephen lets the officer in, but he has to go take his pet for a walk. The officers then checked one by one the corner of the room in the house. When they were in a garage, the police were suspicious of the trash can that seemed to have just been bought by Stephen. The trash can was located next to the children's toys. The officers opened the trash can. There were lots of piles of black plastic. And when the officers tore the plastic, in it the police saw Tara's body pieces. At the same time, the police realized that taking his pet was just an excuse for Stephen to run away from the officers. In that cold season, the search was carried out. Until finally, the police found Stephen in a forest. He was sitting under a tree in a weak state due to hypothermia. Stephen was then taken to the hospital by helicopter. In different places, officers and volunteers found other body parts in 14 different places. 14 different places. After his condition improved, the police conducted an interrogation on Stephen. While explaining what he had done to Tara, Stephen are very relaxed and even occasionally make jokes, which of course are not funny at all. Stephen recounts his heinous act like telling a fairy tale to the police. That night, Tara was taking her things out of the suitcase, while Stephen had just finished taking a shower. Tara said that she had to leave for Puerto Rico on Sunday because of work. Hearing this, Stephen became very upset, because he had been feeling that Tara had been having an affair all along. Stephen alleged that Tara had gone to Puerto Rico not for work, but for fun. Quarrel was inevitable. Tara said Stephen was a useless man, and if Tara wanted to file a divorce lawsuit, Stephen would be a bum for sure. Did not accept those words. Then he immediately strangled Tara's neck with all his strength. This action was carried out in the children's room, but fortunately by that time they were fast asleep. When Stephen did his action, he took a cloth nearby to cover Tara's face, and for a while then Tara's life was lost. Stephen then dragged Tara from the room and put her in the trunk of the car. Moments later Vienna came to the house. Stephen then lied that Tara had left him. Vienna innocently believed and felt sorry for Stephen. After that, Stephen made a plan to eliminate traces of his actions. He pretended to call and send messages to Tara's cell phone. The next day Stephen took Tara's body to his parents' factory. Using a hacksaw, Stephen began to cut Tara into several pieces. Wrapped it in black plastic, then piled it into a box. The next day, Stephen took his children to play in the forest. At the same time, Stephen took out the box containing the remains of Tara, then buried her in several different places. But one part he left alone. The piece was only covered with dry leaves. Stephen hoped that a wild animal would eat the piece. However, after hearing that the police were going for a full-scale search, Stephen moved the piece to his father's factory. But for fear of causing a bad smell, the next day he moved the piece back to his own garage. At the same time, the police came to conduct a search. The authorities also discovered the fact that for the past few weeks Stephen had sexual relations with Vienna. For what he has done, Stephen is sentenced to 80 years in prison. Because Tara is dead and Stephen is in prison, their children, Ian and Lindsay, are raised by Tara's sister. Many people are angry with Stephen's actions and call him an ignorant man. Already unemployed, has a beautiful wife, smart, even acts like that.
Please, call anybody, call the police, call me, and let's call someone. You see her, tell me, please.
From this case we learn, increase gratitude in living this life. And if we want to be appreciated by others, we must deserve ourselves first before demanding others to respect us. Keep being a good person, always enthusiastic, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in another Shania Studio video. Bye.